just coming into 1 o'clock, so a couple more minutes. Give you a wee bit of background of what we do here at Raise while we're letting people in. We are a startup accelerator based in Belfast. We run our program remotely, so we have companies in Belfast, Dublin and London. We focus on that early stage tech companies and help them kind of build and commercialize and accelerate towards investment. So it's a 6-month program, but the foundations of the program came from events like this. One of our very first events was nearly 2 years ago, showcasing startups and connecting them with investors here in Belfast. And the whole reason behind it is just to have that more informal opportunity for startups to showcase their pitches and have that opportunity to create conversations with investors. So it's very informal and relaxed, and an opportunity for questions and connections during the event. So yeah, you're all very welcome. Michael, do you want to do any more introduction?
Well, yeah, just generally, just want to welcome everyone and thank you very much for joining the call. Our philosophy around pitching events is very much driven by that personal connection. It's such a shame that we're having to do this on Zoom, and we're not in a nice bar or restaurant having a nice glass of wine and stretching along into the afternoon. Sadly, obviously, circumstances dictate that we have to do it online. So we're trying to encourage people that if you see a pitch that you like, ideas that you like, something you feel you can add value to, whether it's investing or whether it's time, customers, whatever it is that you feel you can contribute to make that startup a success, we encourage you to get in touch with the founders and start those conversations.
Yeah, a good way to kick off is to find out where everybody is today. So we've got a wide range of people signed up for the event from obviously here, Belfast, Dublin, London, Manchester, further afield. So please share down into the chat where you're calling from today or zooming from today.
And also just to let you know the format of the event, our founders are going to pitch for 7 minutes, and then there will be 3 minutes for questions afterwards. So please put questions into the chat if you have any. Yeah, I'll give them a 5-minute warning and then a final 30 seconds warning. Usually in the evening events, to be honest, when you're having a few beers and the crack's good, you don't mind if people go on a wee bit longer, but because it's during the working day, we're going to be a little bit tighter on time than normal as well. So just to let everyone know. If anyone has any great ideas of places where we can hold future Raise events, please stick those in the chat as well. We've had everything from pubs to gin distilleries. We were planning Ox was where the next one was going to be, in the Cave there, which is a really nice restaurant in Belfast. We have spoken to Audi about the launch of one of their new electric vehicles. We were going to do it in an Audi garage. We were going to do it in a farmhouse in deepest, darkest Tyrone was going to be where we're going to have one as well. So if you have any ideas of anywhere you think you'd like to go, have a few drinks and hear some pitches, let us know that as well. So Jenny, should we kick things off?
Yes, let's go. We've got a good few signed in and ready to go. So if you're not pitching, to be able to turn off your mic, that would be great. And yeah, we're first up.
Okay, well, like first up, we're delighted to have Umazi are going to be pitching first. Umazi are a company who are on our Raise Accelerator, and we have been delighted to get to know Umazi and everything that they've been doing over the last period of time. Founded by Cindy Van Neerkant, who will explain really about what they're trying to achieve. So just to let you know precisely what they're doing in terms of their introduction, they've developed a blockchain solution for the management of corporate identity across several industries, including finance, legal, and real estate. They've got their first customers onboarded, and they're working closely with them to go for a full launch. But I'll let Cindy really share the whole story of what Umazi are doing. Go ahead.
Thank you, Michael. Can you all hear me well?
Yes.
So thank you for the opportunity to pitch today here. I'm joined by my co-founder, Matt Layton, which you'll also see on the screen. So Umazi is looking to revolutionize the due diligence processes across industries by creating a decentralized service. And we'll get into the how in a bit. So Umazi is Zulu for to know her. What makes us unique is Umazi is built on distributed ledger technology. We're facilitating a more secure way to share sensitive data that can be added to the platform once and repurposed many times. Umazi's mission is to help drive standardization of the due diligence processes. Our team consists of leading experts from both the finance industry to disruptive tech. We're also being advised by an industry expert with regulatory experience, but also with a lot of startup experience. So let's get into the problem. Clients today have to share multiple overlapping documents with multiple regulated institutions to basically perform similar checks. For example, if you look at a mergers and acquisitions deal, at a minimum that involves an advising bank, the company, a co-shareholder, the buyer, the private equity firm, as well as the law firm. All of those companies are regulated and therefore require rigorous due diligence processes and require due diligence credentials to be shared. This process today is inefficient, which means it requires the same data in different formats for different reasons. It's limitless, the regular data refreshes, it's costly. On average, a corporate client costs about $50,000 to onboard. It's also isolated, so there's no structure, no standard, and it can't be shared from one industry to the next.
So Umazi solves this problem by allowing network participants to share corporate and due diligence information across industry for cross-industry business transactions over a distributed network. So, for example, in a mergers and acquisitions deal, a bank can share their due diligence results with all participants at once. Digital identity is something that is kind of standard for individuals and organizations, but corporate identity validation and verification is still something that's at quite an early stage. Umazi is built on top of R3's Corda platform, which is a distributed ledger designed specifically for financial technology. And by leveraging recent specifications for decentralized identifiers and verifiable credentials, we're building a frictionless solution which facilitates cross-industry due diligence and verification of corporates and their businesses, which reduces compliance risks and alleviates operational inefficiency.
So Umazi is essentially a win-win situation for all across industries. Banks today, as I mentioned before, have very established due diligence processes, but these due diligence results aren't able to be shared across other industries. So with regulated institutions who have the obligation to verify the identity of clients, assess their suitability and evaluate the risks in taking on that client relationship, as well as maintaining a client relationship. This also means that this process today is very manual. It protects against money laundering. It also ensures that corporations are working with and partner with other corporations that are vetted and legitimate organizations. Umazi facilitates the repurpose of the data securely for more than one reason and more than one industry. So Umazi provides a cost-effective, transparent due diligence platform for all industries globally, and both is regulatory agnostic as well as regionally agnostic. It also ensures a better customer experience and a more streamlined effective way for organizations to manage the risk?
The technology that drives the Umazi network was selected specifically to facilitate standardization, to make it easy to use, and ultimately to create a network effect. This reduces the cost and effort in performing due diligence. It means that corporates can create, verify, and share compliance information. Umazi enhances the end user due diligence experience, and this maximizes compliance and reduces risks through collaboration of network participants. Even though we started only this year, we've already become an integral part of R3's Corda identity focus, and we're receiving great support in their business development program.
Umazi's business model is that of a network facilitator. We expect to earn revenues from both regulated and non-regulated institutions, and we're looking to offer the platform to the end user entities initially for free, as they're the largest segment of our platform. The validators will be incentivized to provide validation through a credit on account process.
So in the market today, there are many due diligence and KYC solutions, although they all take on due diligence from different perspectives. And ultimately, the best solution should provide participants with a seamless and frictionless experience, which is what we're aiming to deliver with Umazi. What makes Umazi unique is that we're not only providing the utility, but we also focus on cross-industry information sharing and collaboration tools required for compliance, due diligence, and risk assessment. And Umazi securely facilitates due diligence by using distributed ledger technology, along with all of its benefits, such as decentralized consensus, to ensure that there is trust amongst all of the parties.
30 seconds.
Thank you. To illustrate our potential market, we've decided to segment our market into regulated and non-regulated institutions. We've got very rigorous due diligence processes, as well as end user entities. For all of these organizations, we looked at those only generating revenue of 5 million and above. Umazi's objective is to have an average of 2 deals and an average growth of about 450%, and we anticipate a break-even year in year 2 following a successful seed round. We're looking to raise 500K to focus on our development build-out and to facilitate a successful pilot in the coming months. We're also looking to pilot a cross-industry pilot in the next 6 months. For that, we will need to generate sales and marketing focus to ensure this. I thank you for your time. Any questions?
Brilliant. That was great. Thank you very much, Cindy. Okay, in terms of questions, there's one popped into me here. Can Umazi be used in any industry?
Yes, so as I mentioned before, Umazi is cross-industry. We're regulatory agnostic, industry agnostic, as well as regionally agnostic. Essentially, the way we're operating is that corporate enters their details voluntarily onto the platform, and they select who they ultimately share their credentials with. So whether they share their credentials with someone in South Africa or London or China or US, they decide who they want to share those credentials with, so thereby taking out the regulatory aspect or regulatory burden of complying with certain regulations.
Brilliant. And so another question here, how do you overcome the different regulatory requirements of different regulators, such as GDPR, FCA type regulations, things like that?
So again, because they choose to share their credentials, and we're focused on the corporate side of credential sharing only, not on the individual side, we don't have to comply with GDPR regulations. These are entities rather than individuals, and GDPR, for example, is only focused on individuals. The other regulatory obligations are, for example, anti-money laundering obligations. We don't specify anything specific when it comes to a regulation, because if you look at the onboarding process with a bank versus the due diligence process with a corporation, they're by and large the same credentials, but a very different process. So by going down the route of being regulatory agnostic, you can choose who you actually share your credentials with.
Okay. Does everyone have to be on the same platform to share, or is it a cross-platform solution?
No, we've actually thought this through very carefully for Umazi. Umazi will be both a web-based as well as a application that you load on from an enterprise perspective that you can manage client relationships. So you don't necessarily have to be on the platform per se to be able to access the credentials on the platform. We're thinking of various ways of being able to share the information.
Why did you choose Cordia?
I'm going to let Matt answer that question. Matt, why did we choose Corda?
So there's a few reasons why Corda is useful for this kind of application. We're seeing far more applications these days starting to move over to blockchain and distributed ledger, which kind of it takes away the need for a centralized authority, and in this case, things like federated identity providers. We don't need any of that to provide identity, manage identity, or hold it on a central system. That in itself is an attack vector on centralized systems. You know, we've seen countless times where systems are compromised and personal or corporate details are stolen. With Corda, there's a much more reduced risk of that. The way that Corda works compared to traditional blockchains, on a blockchain, every single transaction from everybody is persisted to the same blockchain, and everybody has a copy of that blockchain, so everybody sees exactly the same data. With Corda, transactions are sent point to point only where there is a participant in that transaction, which means that those transactions are ultimately only seen by the people participating in them. That gives us additional privacy over what's in those transactions. And the other, from a business perspective, Corda being a distributed ledger technology that was built specifically for financial technology, we have potentially hundreds of corporates and banks that we can tap into that are all already on the Corda network. And on the flip side of that, the more corporates and banks that we tap into that are already on Corda, we can actually invite more to join the Corda network and to grow that network out.
And a final question here from Barry, which you can either answer out loud or you can connect with Barry here and have a chat with him directly. I'm just wanting to know what your pre-money valuation is.
Yeah, I'm happy to take this one offline with Barry directly.
Okay, good.
So if I can have Barry's details, we can connect offline.
Yep, we'll do that. We can get those for you, so that's no problem. So thank you very much, Umazi. Great start. And we will move swiftly on to the guys at Emmett at Lintel. It's funny, I usually do this clutching a handful of bits of paper and I can read off them, but I'm trying to run 3 different things going on my screen at any given time here. So if you see me, my eyes darting about the place, I'm just trying to find my notes as screens are shared and different things happen. So yeah, Lintel, yeah, we all know how tricky it is dealing with a house sale, selling and buying. And the difficulties that there are all around that process. As I was saying to Emmett before, I've seen a lot of people trying to fix this problem and not do it, but I think these guys might have it cracked. So I will pass over to Emmett to tell you more about Lintel, which I hope I pronounced properly as well. Possibly I haven't, but far ahead, Emmett. Thanks
very much, Michael, and you have very much pronounced it correctly. So welcome everybody, and thanks for having us on today. So, you know, it's a well-worn cliche that home buying is frequently listed as one of the most stressful life events any of us will ever face. This is due to the diverse and complex range of services needed to get the deal done. In fact, a buyer can need up to 20 different services to buy their home. So when we started Lintel, we had one clear mission: to improve the experience of buying a property. So when you're looking for a new home, you're excited and enthusiastic. It's a big deal. However, once you find your new home, reality hits. The process of buying a home is awful. Whether it's your first or your fifth, it's complicated and very stressful. And despite the complexities, you're alone to navigate your way through the mortgage interest rates, structural surveys, price negotiations, and endless legal jargon. Furthermore, home buyers spend between 10,000 and 30,000 on services alone before they buy their home. That's over 100 billion on lawyers, surveyors, insurance in the US every year, and over 27 billion in the UK. Now imagine a solution that eliminates all the pain of buying a home and at the same time captures this huge market opportunity. At Lintel, we've done just that. We've taken the individual steps needed to buy a home and put them all in one place. As a result, the home buyer has a one-stop shop for property purchases, and transactions worth billions can now flow through our software, and we earn a commission on every single one. The result is an end-to-end property buying experience, and the customer can do this right from their phone. We are a virtual buying assistant that helps the home buyer find their next home, get their mortgage, engage a solicitor, buy insurance, get a survey, connect their utilities, and much more. And also, they can track the progress of all of these services right from their phone. Now, how do we get those buyers? Well, to do this, we've entered into an exclusive partnership with Ireland's largest property portal, daft.ie, to create Daft Assist. It's Ireland's first virtual buying assistant. And by doing this, Lintel now has access to 100% of the Irish home buyer market, opening up huge commission opportunities. If you think about it, virtually every home buyer in the developed world uses property portals to buy their next home. So for every property portal using Lintel software, we get access to millions of new home buyers, and importantly, a share of the revenue generated by those. As we are a virtual assistant and a concierge for the home buyer, and we are with them every step of the way. So when they need a particular service, we pass the home buyer on to our selected service provider sales team, and then we collect a commission every time they sell their service or product. So our business model with property portals and service providers is a win-win. Property portals pay us a monthly fee to access our technology, and service providers pay us a commission every time the home buyer buys a service, such as a mortgage, a solicitor, insurance, and many more. And we've secured partnership with blue chip strategic partners such as FBD, Irish Movers, Nesta, and many more. We have over 17 partnerships now in Ireland. We've already rolled out our first product with daft.ie. We're revenue generating, and we've an exclusive multi-year profit sharing and license agreement, and we've made over 100,000 euros to date. At our current trajectory, we will have 1,000 euro users per week by the end of 2020. Our future customer base will be comprised of 84 of the largest property portals in the world. And we've begun negotiations with a large UK property portal and an international corporation that owns and operates some of the largest portals in the world. Property portals in the last few years have cannibalized each other. And over the last 20 years, they have effectively got every house in the market on their system. So the only way for them to grow is to monetize the customer. And that's what we do. We know this market very well. Personally, I'm the son of a property developer, and I'm an expert in property, having worked in banking, then as a corporate and property lawyer. I co-founded this project with my longtime friend and technical lead, Dr. Jonathan McLaughlin. Jonathan is an expert technologist and problem solver. And furthermore, our great team working directly in Daft helped deliver this product. We have a head of financial services, head of communications, head of marketing, and 2 experienced customer service personnel and 3 engineers. With an eye to the future roadmap, we've assembled a highly experienced team of advisors with specialisms in areas relevant to our objectives, such as growth, sales, US real estate, and many more. Our year-on-year growth is accelerated by partnering with the large players in each market. And our business model hugely reduces our marketing costs and also eases cash flow and sales pressures, allowing us to focus on selling our technology to new property portals around the world. We can roll this out internationally with a small but talented team, and we've already identified the key roles. Our current raise will accelerate our business from revenue generating exciting early stage startup to a robust and highly profitable market player in 12 months. And we plan to use this raise for growth we are experiencing and accelerate our entry into the UK. But what I'm asking today is just, if you know somebody in the property market that's looking to change the industry, connect them with me and let's talk. We're always looking for new service providers and new introductions. Our goal is to reach €1 billion in valuation in the next 7 years. Our high net profit and low cost of customer acquisition and first mover advantage will allow us to grow aggressively over the next couple of years. We've modeled for 4 strategic raises to get to this valuation, each representing an opportunity for exit. There are 84 strategic property portals in the world. They can't build any more houses, so their next move is to monetize the home buyer. And Lintel has firmly established itself as one to watch, because we've been doing this for 2 years. The market players collectively agree that buying a property will be a very different experience around the world in the next 5 years.
30 seconds.
At the forefront of that change. Thanks very much.
And that's brilliant. Well done. And 20 seconds to spare as well. So does anyone have any questions? I think just to kick things off, I think as we spoke before, so you don't have to engage with the estate agents directly then. You're managing to bypass them then.
So if you think about buying a house, there are lots of different parties involved. You have banks, estate agents, lawyers, insurance companies, movers, surveyors, utility companies, etc. So when we set out to solve this problem, we knew that we'd need an ecosystem built around us where everybody benefits. Now, everybody has their own agenda, but what everybody wants is more business. They want lower costs and higher customer satisfaction. So what we did was we built an ecosystem around us of the key players in the market, and then we just facilitated customer service. So what we do now is we drive more business to the people that matter in the ecosystem. We reduce the amount of time they spend with their customer, and the end user, the home buyer, who is the most valuable person in the ecosystem, they get a much better experience. And we collect commissions from every single one. So estate agents can often see themselves as the gatekeeper to the market, where in fact it's the property portals. The estate agents still sell the houses. All we do is facilitate the person buying the house. Now, the estate agent works for the vendor, but we service the home buyer. So that, in essence, rules out the estate agent from our business model.
Have you found any contractual challenges around existing relationships between the likes of Daft Eye and some of the companies they already refer on to? Has it been difficult for you to integrate in through that? Or
well, if you think about property portals, what they essentially are media companies. So they sell advertising space to estate agents, but they also sell it to banks and anyone else that sells into the industry. But that's it. They're media companies. What we do is we facilitate the transaction from start to finish. So what we're providing is not advertising space, but highly qualified sales leads that we sell on. So you can have all the advertising you want, but it's a blunt tool. What we do is we take the customer at the start of their journey, offer them value all the way through the property buying journey. And at each stage, when they need a service, we direct them to our service providers with whom we've negotiated discounted deals through economies of scale that they can't get on the high street themselves.
Okay, that's great. And AJ Rogers here is asking, how much of your plan involves the US market? I think they're pointing out that it's a very different system there. I assume you've done your homework.
Yeah, it is. It's very different. But if you think about how you buy a home, it's the same all over the world. You get finance and then you do your exchange of legals. Now, even in the US, you have a buyer's agent and a seller's agent. What we're going to do in the US is eliminate the buyer's agent. We will become a digital buyer's agent. We will do everything a buyer's agent does for the home buyer, but do it albeit digitally. So our costs, our customer costs are way lower. Our system at the moment is completely automatic and we can run it with a really small team and our conversion rates are quite high. So partnering with the likes of Daft and Lintel in Ireland and the UK allows us to open up the entire market. In the US, our biggest obstacle will be overcome the in-person buyer's agent. And we believe that once we've built a bit of traction and built a bit of finance here in Europe, we can make our first initial foray into the US.
That's brilliant. Well, look, thank you very much, Emmett. If anyone has any more questions, Emmett's contact details there are in the chat. So please reach out to him directly. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Next up, we have George Armstrong of Scanmatix. George and his colleague Panios have over 50 years experience within the retail stock taking industry environment, whatever we want to describe it. And George is taking technology they've developed and processes that have developed into Scanmatix. And in fairness, the poor man is down here with a cold. I don't think he has a repetitive cough, a temperature, a change of taste or smell. I think it is just a cold, but he's going to tell us all about Scanmatix. Fire ahead, George.
And finally unmute myself. Sorry about that, folks. Hello, it's George here from Scanmatix, and what we provide a stock control system, and we put it at the fingertips of the user. So, brief idea of what it is we do. We've developed software both from a handheld scanner point of view and back office that does all the heavy lifting of data integrations and report generation. But fundamentally, this is going into the hands of the end user. So where can it go into? Into fashion retail, electrical retail, pharmacies, supermarkets, convenience stores, wholesalers, couriers and distributors, and even into manufacturing when they're making their own goods. So as Michael mentioned there, the team consists of myself. I'm a co-founder and CEO. Been working in sort of the fashion and footwear industry as a EPOS provider and support of all of that. And also then the other co-founder is Panos. He's based in London. He's had a very successful career with software, with over 20 successful commercial solutions. Some involved directly in retail management, but fundamentally tracking goods no matter where they are is where his specialty has been. So our mission in the short term is to become the leading name for inventory management in the UK and Ireland. And hopefully after the first couple of years, once we get established, then we are looking to take what we've got into a global sphere. So what we're asking for, we're looking for £200,000 for 20% equity of our company. We are SEIS, EIS approved. We have already 100,000 of that soft circled, and 50,000 of that 100 has already been invested under an advanced subscription agreement. That money will be used for those areas that you can see there. So to give you an idea of the problem that the customer faces, this in essence, the blue is what the customer sees on their existing EPOS or ERP system, and the orange line is what they actually have. So in this case, what has happened is that they had less stock than what they thought. It should have been reordered on the 1st of April, but because of that delay between the 1st of June and the 1st of July, they actually had no stock, so therefore they missed out on turnover. There's also the other way of looking at that, in that things were ordered too early. So when the first count was done in January, the customer wasn't aware and didn't take into effect of 2 returns that appeared. So by the time they got to what the system believed should have been reordered in June, it was too early for that. So they've ordered too much, and they then have too much stock, which in turn in future will affect their margin because they have to mark it down. And they're also, for those who are selling online, they have an unknown out of stock. So although their online system might say that they have 1 or 2 left, their actual count in May, as you can see here, was 0. And therefore that order may be cancelled if someone tried to place the order online. A quote here from the European Consumer Retail and On-Shelf Availability Group, which is a bit of a mouthful, But basically, what they've found in a European-wide study with over 2,000 SKUs and many retailers in both the fast-moving consumer goods supermarket type thing, along with what we sort of know as standard retail in the fashion world, is that if this stock is continually made right, whether it be weekly or monthly by small incremental counts, they can increase turnover by 4 to 8% and margin by 5 to 7 without having to change the way in which they're selling. They just have accurate stock levels. So in regards to the user experience of what we've got, we're comparing ourselves here to probably the industry leader in our field, which is DataScan. RGIS, who are actual physical stock takers and probably the largest company they're global, but probably the largest in Great Britain and Ireland. And also Shopify are there to represent the POS system. So in the method of self-scan, ourselves and DataScan are the two that are in this area alone. RGIS bring in a team to do their own counts, and with Shopify, you can do it yourself. From a data source, we can accept any data source in order for the customer to do this. With DataScan and RGIS, they require a fixed source of data. Everything must be pre-prepared by the customer, which in turn, if the customer doesn't have that technical ability, it can create a lot of problems. And Shopify, it just has to come from that system. With integrations, again, we can integrate into any system because we have our access to any source of data and how we deal with that. The others are stuck to the way in which they can. From speed with the scanner, what we've found since we've started is that we are at least 20% quicker than both DataScan and RGIS just from the technology we're using. Shopify use a mobile phone, but it requires on the phone focusing on the barcode and being able to go from there. And we also have a multi-use platform. I talked very briefly that it's mainly stock taking we can do, but we can also track the goods in, goods out, transfers between branches, and none of the others can do that. We also supply the equipment, as do DataScan, and the other two companies don't. So in terms of the market, within Ireland, there are 37,000 retailers and wholesalers that we can access. Within GB, there's 330,000. We sit as middleware, so we are not replacing the investment and the training that companies have had within their own systems, but we're sitting on top and providing an expert solution into an area of the system that most people has been added as a last minute thought by the ERP system. To give you an idea of speed, a quick video there of the scanner in operation. So every barcode there that's being scanned is being recorded, and we can then operate with that speed, and that speed in turn reduces both time and cost savings for the end user customer. In regards to our business and revenue model, we have two main channels. The first one is direct to the customer. That customer will self-scan. Scanmatix control the data, both from an import and returning it for the updates for their own system.
30 seconds, George.
Okay, we can integrate into their system, and our revenues are sort of 400 up for an individual account or 1,200 plus for a subscription. Our second channel is professional stock taker. They get the use of the Scanmatix platform. We share branding, so every customer they have is also one of ours, and we only provide support when that's required, and we charge 10% of what they charge their customer. Our revenues.
So wrap up there, George, if you can.
Our revenues, our gross revenues are like so, and just in regards to some of our customers that we've dealt with already, we've got Bogart Menswear in Belfast. Exile Clothing are part of the JD Sports Group. They're based in Scotland. Akhlan Avenue are part of the Arianta Group, and that is the landside duty-free in Saudi Arabia. Elite Stock Taking are our first stock taking partner, and through them we have now contracts with DID Electrical, who are a national electrical wholesaler. We're doing jobs with Intersport Elveries, and also we have a test pilot job with the Henderson Group that's occurring at the end of the month. So look, thanks everyone for your time. If you need to contact me, that's how you do it. And with Scanmatix, we put stock control at your fingertips.
Cheers. Well done. Thank you very much. Well done for actually staying upright,
alive,
collapsing there.
Staying alive, yes.
That has to be our priority. So you're, in terms of you've got great growth there through Ireland and some clients overseas. So what's your sort of your growth strategy to get into UK, Europe, and wider markets?
Okay, well, initially it will be sort of in the English speaking world. So we're looking at GB first of all. Now the investor who's give us the advanced assurance, or sorry, advanced subscription, he will come onto the board as a non-executive director, but he was the managing director and sales director of a GB and Ireland wide and European wide flooring company for boats, planes, trains, and buses. So he's bringing that nous with him, as well as he sees a use for this in the manufacturing world, where it's certainly his company, when they were producing goods, they're tracking their own internal stock, as maybe not something we thought of, but he sees an opportunity for that and has many contacts in that world. So, I mean, initially we are trying to approach those companies that are maybe sort of 10 branches more, or sorry, 10 branches or more across the UK, and that'll be mostly by direct contact.
Very good. Good stuff. Well, look, I'll let you go and get a lem sip. And if anyone has any questions or would like to connect directly with George, his details there are in the chat. So we're moving on from George to Dave Carney from a company called Champions Mind. We're all the way from stock taking. Champions Mind is headspace for athletes. They're a B2B app for athletes, and they're growing very quickly through the US college market. And I will leave Dave to tell you more about the company and what they're doing. Thanks, Dave.
Good afternoon, everyone. In sport, your mindset is the difference between your best performance and your worst performance. An athlete's self-confidence, ability to handle pressure in tight situations, and their commitment to short-term sacrifice to achieve bigger team goals are all mental skills that athletes need to develop to be successful. Traditionally, an athlete's mental skills were treated as something fixed. If a famous athlete choked under pressure, you might describe them as broken or deficient, and everybody would assume that they could never get better. Just like the macho culture of many sports, a fellow teammate might suggest, man up or get over it. It's a fixed mindset that doesn't help the athlete, and it doesn't help the team perform better. Our understanding of mental performance in sport has changed massively in the last few years. And unlike before, we can now build better tools to help athletes understand and improve their mental game. So I've teamed up with Dr. Jim Afremow. He's a performance psychologist who has worked with 17 different Olympic gold medalists. And together we've built Champions Mind, which is a mental skills training platform for competitive athletes and their coaches. Just like an athlete might go to the gym to get faster or stronger, an athlete can now go to Champions Mind to work on improving their mental game. Champions Mind generates revenue from 3 sources. Any athlete can download the app today and start following the program. And we've generated over $30,000 worth of App Store sales in this way. A coach can also buy a team license for their college. And we currently have 12 college teams signed up, starting at a price point of $400. We also have a trial with the Black Hill State University, where we are running the program for the entire university, or for the entire university athletics department. And that's being paid for by the conference. So if that trial goes well for us, we hope to roll it out for 15 colleges with a total deal size of $100,000 to $150,000. The US sports coaching industry is huge. Based on the data that we've collected in our app, we've decided to focus first on US college coaches. We're using a strategy of email and webinars to contact every college coach, and we will generate sales of $1.2 million a year within the next 2 years. After that, we'll look at youth sports. With anxious parents hoping their kids will get a highly sought after college scholarship, they invest over $1 billion a year in sports coaching for their children. Working with high performance academies and high schools, our obtainable market there is around $80 million. Finally, sports coaching in the US as a whole is an $8 billion market. We'll partner with gym chains and other athletic organizations to incorporate mental skills training into every athlete's training program. This brings our total sales potential to well over $200 million a year. Champions Mind stands out as the only digitally distributed mental skills training solution for athletes and coaches in the market. While there's always competition, right now, only 4% of US colleges have a structured mental skills training program for their athletes. And there's a directive from the college sports governing body, the NCAA, recommending additional focus for athletes for mental health and well-being. Currently, coaches recommend books, which can't be tracked, and let's face it, athletes aren't always the best at reading. General purpose apps like Headspace, which don't focus effectively on athletes' needs, and we've already won some business away from Headspace and to our own platform. And sports psychologists, who for most athletes are too expensive to be used regularly. I'm an experienced CEO, and Jim is a world-class expert. Previously, I founded and led a company called Fluid UI, building it up to over 20,000 customers in 130 countries. Jim is a globally renowned sports psychologist who has written 3 top-selling books, spent 3 years as the peak performance coordinator with the San Francisco Giants, and has worked with 17 Olympic gold medalists. This is a direct to US market play, and we need a level of funding that will allow us to succeed in that market. We're raising $1.5 million to develop new content and features in the app and to improve our conversion rate, to execute a paid and content marketing strategy to reach 1,000 athlete installs per day, and to expand our business development capability to sign up 1,000 teams within the next 2 years.
It's 2 minutes.
At Champions Mind, our mission is to help athletes to think gold and never settle for silver. If you have an interest in sports or team performance, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks.
That's brilliant, Dave. Thank you very much. So if you have any questions, please put them into the chat. I was just going to ask, is when you the platform, is it a bespoke solution for each colleague or college who takes it on, or is it a standard solution? Or
no, it's a standardized solution. It's a product rather than a service.
And is it just for professional athletes, or is there a amateur recreational sports use of it?
Yeah, no, we would look at the level below top tier professional. So in the case where maybe you have like a professional football team or an Olympic organization, they tend to have sports psychologists in-house. It's the level below that. So your high school or your college athlete where you don't have access to the kind of resources, but typically you have the same level of pressure when competing. You're just trying to get up to the next level. So, the slightly further down the market, less access to a, $500 an hour session with a mental skills coach.
And is it equally applicable for team sports and individual sports?
Yeah, there are, I guess, if you think about, say, for example, an individual sport like golf or running, typically you do those in a team environment anyway. And a huge part of mental performance is based on the team. About 70% of the decisions that people make are based on the team environment. So we cover all of the individual skills, and then we'd also consider the team skills as appropriate even to the individual athletes.
And the tech that you've developed around this, is this your own, or is it, what sort of platform is it built on?
So the athlete component is a mobile app, which we've developed, and then the coach component is sort of a web application. So we've developed that, and then all of the training content has been developed by Jim.
That's good. And I take it as an ongoing process of updating content, expanding content, and responding to clients' needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Well, that's great. If anyone here on the call wants to find out more, Dave at championsmind.app is there. And I'm sure we can go down and download the app as well, I'm sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's rated 4.7 in the App Store, 4.6 in the Play Store, I think. So it's doing pretty well for itself.
Brilliant. Excellent. And works across phones, iPads. It works on everything. Yeah. Okay, that's brilliant, Dave. Thank you very much. So Jenny, we're going to have a 30-second break here for the next one to allow people to nip to the loo, make a cup of coffee, find the charging cable they need, and yeah.
It's very aware that obviously we spend a lot of time looking at screens and on Zoom meetings. So this is just a quick chance to take a quick break and come back. If you're staying listening, just wanted to do a few stretches and kind of get moving. So we did a mental health workshop last week, and some of the things was just about moving the body even when you're sitting at the desk. So some simple stretches starts looking to the left and stretching your neck and forward, and looking to the right and forward, and getting the shoulder rolls. So just making sure that you're moving the body, getting the shoulder rolls back and forward, and just generally getting the body moving while we're sitting, listening to some of these great pitches. And some of the other stretches I like is obviously getting your arms, putting one arm in front of the other and doing the stretch this way. All of a sudden you find muscles that you haven't used in a while, and across the other side as well. We had Emma, who does Pilates with us, and one of her other tips, I'll not do it today, but was also just stand up and just shake. So I'm just going to do it while I'm sitting in my chair. So let's just shake it out. Brilliant. Yeah, that's just a great chance to just kind of wake up and break up the session. So we've 3 more pitches left, guys, and we're hoping not to take up too much of your time. At the end of the event, we'll have a poll for everybody. If you vote and see who you would like to contact, and we'll make those connections. And we're also putting all the details in the chat as well to keep those conversations going. So up next, Michael, we have Dave from RecFunnel. I'm just going to share his presentation because he's actually out at the car. You see that okay?
Yep. So Dave has, this is a very early stage startup in the recruitment space. While this platform is early stage, David has extensive experience and knowledge of the recruitment industry, has used this tool in industry, and he sees the real potential for it to be shared and grown out across UK, Ireland, and international markets. So I'll hand over to Dave to tell you all about it.
Hi guys, how's it going? So I'm David Raby. I've been working in recruitment for almost 10 years. So we just want to skip that on just to the team, please, Johnny. So just the team myself. David Raby, 10 years recruitment experience. Previously ran my own recruitment company between UK and Ireland, and I've been sitting on kind of management and board level. Also co-founder in with me is Mahmoud. He's almost 10 years engineering experience. He's a full stack web developer, and we've been working together here for a while just on building this. So it is essentially a business development on pipeline for the recruitment industry. So just skip it on to solution. So problem is there's too many for recruiters. They send across too many personalized emails. They usually don't follow it up, and then too much time spent on opportunities that just aren't there. So this really gives recruiters a bit more focus on what they're doing in their day. So whenever they're going in, straight away from RecFunnel, they know what the opportunities are. So they are these different opportunities, and they're just a bit more focused in that. Sorry, I have to get in the call there. So just with this automated system, it means that there's targeted sales going on, and these recruiters are following up where these opportunities are. So they know straight away they're sent across these emails where the opportunities are, and they're going to where the action is. So let's skip on to status. So actually the alpha got launched there in October, just the start of October, and it's at staging.recfunnel.com, and how much myself and Mahmoud have invested in this so far, and we're just mapping out. So we do have different launches lined up, but we're being very customer centric here. We do have different people testing this here for us, or recruiters at the moment, and they're kind of seeing what we should improve here. So funding really is for getting our MVP in place, and also for marketing. So if we skip on to the market size and validation. So recruitment market. So if you're on LinkedIn, there's 136,000 recruitment companies, and there's just over 5.8 million recruitment professionals. We do have different recruiters in these companies. So Vickerstock would be one of the biggest in Northern Ireland, same with Van Rath, but then with Hayes, people in there testing out Air and Matchtech, some of the biggest recruitment companies in the UK testing this out. So what we're kind of getting at the moment is that they're coming back to us saying they really like the system, but it would get real value in it if we cast our net a bit wider for getting more data in. We're currently just working off a few sources for our data. So I have previous experience of the platform as well, but it was not automated. So this is kind of the idea from. So if you skip on to competition, who the competitors are. So there's no automated system out there. There is Leeds Gorilla, and there's another one, Tash Rizzo. But with those guys, I mean, they only sell annual subscriptions, and they're over like 2,000 minimum for an annual subscription. Was a big outlay for any kind of recruitment professional, and it doesn't really solve the problem. It's a human problem, and it needs an automated solution. So if you kind of think of it, that the solutions at the moment are more travel agents, and we're like Skyscanner. And just if you skip on to the commercialization plan. So really we're using community marketing for this. So recruitment industry is a very incestuous industry. So we're just with our current people that have got in touch. So there's over 400 of them at the moment, and they're just trying it out. So really, whenever we're ready to launch kind of subscription wise, we want to kind of keep our costs low per month. We're hoping to get to over 2,000 users in the next 12 months, and over 20% of the market share within the next 5 years. I plan to do that by keeping the subscription low and just always improving the service by listening to our users. So I do have another slide there, but it's not on that presentation, but that's RecFunnel.
That's great, David. Thank you very much. So what are you looking for today? What are you trying to raise?
Hoping to raise 75k just to help build the MVP, and also help with the marketing. Mahmoud's on board, so we do have different contacts for helping develop our engineering side of things. And I'm also chatting to a few marketers just on strategy and also on creative side of things.
And that would be an SCIS investment then as well. So that's in the pipeline, I imagine, as well. And is there any difference do you find about the recruitment industries in Ireland, UK, and US? Are they all facing the same challenges, and does this solution work in all those markets?
The solution does work in all those markets. It's the big thing in the world at the moment is this: their clients are diversifying, so it's really, you have to be agile and you have to know where the opportunities are. So traditionally, every morning you're kind of in trawling different news sites, to seeing where's certain amount of funding going. I mean, if you're a tech recruiter, that's what you're looking at. If you're a construction recruiter, you're looking to see who's won recent projects. And that takes just so much time out of your day, whereas this is just an automated service, and it's straight away, you know where the opportunities are first thing you come in the morning.
That's great. And I think, as you said as well, in the past, you've used this system and things while you were managing a recruitment team yourself, so you've got first-hand experience of how this works and how beneficial it can be.
Yeah, I've lived the problem. So no, this kind of why I built this platform. Is kind of saved me time. It wasn't really an automated system, but obviously I've released the alpha based off my original problem. But we're listening to our customers and what they're saying, and really they like what they're saying. But I think a bigger data set coming into the system is what they're after.
That's brilliant. Well, look, thank you very much, David. Anyone have any other questions that they want to ask? I think there might be some here. Okay, yeah, I think Peter Collins asking here is, what is the ongoing maintenance of product per customer in terms of hours per annum? Peter, I'm not entirely sure of what your question is. So if you want to speak directly to Dave there, he'll be able to drill down for you on those specifics. Okay, so coming up next, we have Kieran Brennan, who's going to talk to us from Livecosts, which allows construction forecasting more accurately and enables more real-time monitoring of product costs. And it integrates with suppliers and provides access to the cost and tracks the spend as the project goes on. But I'll leave Kieran to explain where they've got to and where they're hoping to get to, and a bit more detail about Livecosts. So I'll pass over to Kieran. Thanks.
Thanks, Michael. Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Kieran Brennan. I'm the CEO of Livecosts.com. In 2016, we sold our Australian contracting business and benefited from the construction industry's shift to digital. We achieved this by building a tech system to deal with the complete disconnect within our business. After selling up, we decided to return to Ireland, but this time rebuild for scale. In order to rebuild for scale, we must firstly deeply understand the contractor's problem. When we sit with a contractor, we ask them, what is the number one issue that keeps you awake at night time? And it's this: they do not know whether they're making money or not. And it's down to them having too many systems to access key real-time financial data. And the solution to this is very simple. They need one clean and connected flow of all cost data. We need a cloud-based system where we can connect existing systems and give us that clean flow. The contractors market is big. We've got a total available market of $2.4 billion, which is made up of 1.4% of construction companies' revenue spent on IT, of which 6.1% is in application software. But we're targeting the service available market of clients turning 1 to 20 million, giving us a service available market of $100 million. The top 50 global contractors reported 1.5 trillion in revenues in 2017. But 99.9% of companies with less than 50 staff deliver 80% of the value in construction. And that positions us ideally to capitalize on the $547 billion global construction materials market, which just needs to be disrupted. To understand how we can disrupt that market, we must understand our competitive position. We sit in between estimating and final accounts. We integrate with these systems, but we're not directly competing as a project cost tracking tool, because it's how we collect, analyze, and integrate our data which makes us stand out. This is Livecosts. You will notice in Livecosts straight away how clean, crisp the UI and UX experience would be. It's because we understand the customer, because we are the customer. We've set this up with a simple traffic light system. Green is approved, it's gone to accounts, we're happy. Amber is an approved cost sitting there, it's a committed cost we need to know about. Here we're fixing our problem directly, understanding exactly where we win and lose money with real-time financial data. This is powered connecting site and office, but there's a connection to the brands. This catalog is a smart collection of data where we're taking invoices, running a deep OCR machine learning scanning technology across invoices and capturing data to give people a unique, customized e-commerce store that's yet to be seen from our industry. This is done through an inbox. When an invoice lands into a construction company, it gets lost in accounts. We look at a document very differently, where we scan, extract data, and now we start to fix problems. One, our traffic light system will kick straight into gear. We'll go and attach purchase orders and reconcile them and give a green indication. We can move on. We will link these orders back to the job site and attach deliveries so we can understand and make sure we're paying for exactly what we're getting for. This is where we're scanning and collecting data. We're taking all the information from every invoice and capturing them into this personalized e-commerce store. That makes our connection to the brand a very, very simple play. Our traction to date has been quite exciting. We're currently monitoring 80 million worth of live projects on the platform, and that's growing month on month. We have over 500 users on the platform, and that's growing month on month. But interesting, from a materials brand and suppliers point of view, we're tracking 4.2 million of material between contractors and suppliers month on month. Our business model is simple. We go direct to sales with contractors who are giving us the data. We charge €400 a month on a SaaS based. In January, we plug in our suppliers and brands, and we scale through channel partners where we offer up to 20% of recurring revenue. Our funding growth to date, we've had early investment from the NDRC, Enterprise Ireland, and local angels. We're currently closing a seed round, of which 300,000 is subscribed of a 500,000 raise. Our team is made up of experienced construction professionals, married to deep technical and SaaS-based sales marketing experience. Myself and my brother Niall have worked together, scaled and sold a construction business previously. But I've got experience working on both the contracting and the supplying side of the construction industry. I understand these problems. Dermot Quinn is an experienced CTO, having held a position in some of Ireland's biggest companies. And Colin Mulcahy is our Chief Revenue Officer, highly experienced sales marketing expert, former CEO of SaaSpoint, which he made an exit in the US. We've recognizable investors such as Enterprise Ireland and the NDRC. And as I mentioned, we're currently in a raise of €500,000, which will be distributed across technology and sales, resulting in a complete procurement tool which can integrate to our brands, giving them sales data that they just don't see today. Thank you very much for your time, and thanks for the opportunity to pitch.
Cheers, thank you very much. It was a great pitch. So any questions anyone has, please put them into the chat. I was going to ask you, you've got a very strong recurring revenue model there in place. Is it too early to start talking about lifetime value or churn or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit, to be honest, but I suppose all we can say to date is we commercialized the product. We're coming up on 12 months and we have a 3% churn. We didn't lose a single customer through COVID, which meant that our existing customers look at this as a tool that they must have and not a nice to have. And that's probably the only data point that we have at this point.
That's great. And how long's your sales cycle? And I was actually interested to ask as well, what your sales process is as well. How are you marketing this?
We do it in three ways, really. We're partnered up with some of the big accounting softwares such as Xero, and we can be found on their marketplace. So that generates international sales from, say, New Zealand, Australia. So that's a nice online sales model. We do a lot of inbound through a construction podcast that I host myself. That creates a lot of awareness for the company. And then we have a direct model where we have sales development representatives essentially on the phone, where we create leads through not through cold calling, but just bringing our interested clients that we've created inbound through the sales funnel to SQL. So that works quite well for us. Our industry are very comfortable on the phone. They're one industry that generally do their business on the phone day to day. So we just sort of capitalize on that and bring companies that from an interested prospect to a sales qualified prospect through the phone.
Great. And because you're just sitting on top of their existing accounting processes and things as well, no transactional activity goes through your platform. They do your customers do that all themselves. You don't have to worry about that. Is that
correct? Yeah. So we live in between estimating and accounts. What that means is that when a contractor wins a project, he'll plug in the project into Livecosts. That then becomes a live project. And now we have a tool that can track the real-time data against the project. Once we're happy with costs, we'll just...
Then in terms of investment, are you looking for smart money at this stage, or is it just cash you're after?
No, I mean, preference always is smart money. To date, we've only have smart money, which is great for us. We've only taken on investment from people that will drive value into the business through introductions or just know the industry inside out. So ideal investor for us would be someone that would link us into them big brands within the industry, because that is our next phase.
Okay, that's great. Like, thank you very much, Emmett. Really enjoyed that. That was great. And like everyone, if you have any more specific questions, please go directly to Emmett, and he'll be able to answer those for you. So now we're on to our final pitch of the afternoon. If any of you were with us at the Ranaman Gin Distillery back I think about 18 months ago, you would have heard these guys talking about this idea that they had. A lot of water has gone under the bridge and a lot of progress has been made. So Haru provide an end-to-end e-commerce service for ethical retailers. They've seen huge growth over lockdown and are preparing to scale their service across the UK and Ireland. So I'll hand over here and you can find out all about Haru. Yeah.
Sorry, Michael, coming up now.
That's okay. Here's Sam for you now.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks to Jenny and Michael for having us here today. By way of introduction, my name is Sam Linus and I'm presenting today with my business partner, Jacques Hill, who may have popped up somewhere. So Haru stands for Help and Reuse. We are building an e-commerce infrastructure for ethical retailers.
In regards to our market, our initial focus is on the charity retail sector. Currently in the UK and Ireland, there are over 11,600 charity shops. Last year, these shops brought in more than 1.5 billion in annual revenue. With the e-commerce market, global e-commerce sales are set to nearly double by 2023 from 2019. It is clear the e-commerce market is only going to grow and is an essential part of wider retail. One of the fastest areas of growth will be seen in second-hand online retail. The second-hand fashion market will reach 51 billion by 2023, overtaking fast fashion by 2028.
So what is the problem that we're trying to solve? Well, even in the charity retail sector, of that 1.5 billion that Jacques just mentioned, only 1.6% of this comes from online sales. So when we compare this to the industry retail average of 18%, that's where the problem is. So why can't charity shops sell online? Well, very simply, they're a very busy and fast-paced environment with a wide range of individual items, so they don't know what to sell. They've got a lack of staff and volunteers, usually with no e-commerce experience. They don't know how much to sell those items for, where to sell them, or what approach to take. They often also have a lack of storage because they're usually in very small retail units on the high street.
The pandemic has had a huge financial impact on the charity sector, with income down and the need for their services going up. Relying on footfall and in-store sales, the charity retail sector lost 98.4% of its revenue during lockdown and faces disruption. With continued uncertainty, it has become essential that charity shops innovate and find other sources of revenue. E-commerce has become a need rather than a want. So simply put, our solution is an easy way for charity shops to sell online. We offer a complete end-to-end service which allows any retailer to start selling online quickly, without needing to invest heavily in tech, infrastructure, staff, training, etc.
So to for an overview of our service and to kind of highlight a few key parts, there's in-store software that helps staff and volunteers find what to sell online. It recommends a price that they can get online so they can make a decision whether to sell something online or in store. They simply fill up their Haru box with anything they would like to sell online, and Haru handles the process from there, from uploading the items on multiple marketplaces, storing it for them, doing product marketing on their items, and fulfilling all their orders. We then pay the earnings back to the shop.
We have a simple pricing model. Each shop pays a £20 monthly subscription along with a 30% commission and £1 selling fee on each successful sale.
So with regards to traction today, as Michael said, we did pitch a while ago and there has been a lot of progress since then. We developed and trialed our solution in 2019 with charities across Northern Ireland. And we launched at the start of this year. We launched with just 5 shops pre-lockdown. Since then, we've registered over 45 shops and agreed a further 30 with EH UK, which is the 4th largest chain in the UK.
Within our current network, we have access to over 630 shops. We are focused on selling at a management level. Brian Lockridge, our commercial director, has extensive experience and connections across the sector in both the UK and Irish markets. And as we scale, we certainly believe a domino effect is very possible. We are also branching out to charities with currently no retail presence, providing a new source of revenue with no need for off-putting upfront costs. We have based our financial projections on our growth within the charity retail sector. These figures are based on realistic growth with key KPIs, including shops, boxes, and stock received. We forecast the break-even point year 2, month 9. And as we scale, we expect costs to reduce with economies of scale and as our systems and processes become more efficient. We also expect to see our selling performance improve as our marketing level increases and we build Haru as a brand.
So with regards to the management team, myself and Jacques are the co-founders. We both have previous experience in e-commerce, along with experience in accountancy and finance and marketing and design. As Jacques had already mentioned, earlier this year, Brian Lockridge joined the Haru management team. Brian was previously the commercial director of EHNI and brings extensive experience and contacts within the charity sector across the UK and Ireland.
In regards to investment, we completed a pre-seed round of 160k made up of investment from Innovation Ulster, Tech.NI and other private investors. This has been supported with grant funding, including Tech.NI's proof of concept grant, along with InvestNI support. Currently, we're in the process of raising a seed round of investment and are approved for SEIS and EIS relief. We are also currently eligible to apply for match funding. This seed investment will allow us to take our proven model and expand across the UK and Ireland. Key areas of spend will include expanding our team, improving our infrastructure, and developing our tech solutions. We want to scale quickly and believe we are in the perfect position to do so.
And finally, with regards to uplift and exit for investors, we've based our projections on our finances and our future valuations on a 2.5 earnings multiplier. The e-commerce industry average is about 2.5 to 4. That would see a projected uplift of between 4.5 and 7 for seed investors within 3 years. And that doesn't take into consideration a planned Series A investment for around 12 to 18 months. A lot of the groundwork for which we have started with metrics being set by VCs that we're in communication with. So that brings us to a close and we're happy to answer any questions.
That's great, gentlemen. Thank you very much, Sam and Jacques. Appreciate that, and it's great to see the progress that you've made since the last pitch. So how long do you find the sales process or sales cycle with the sector?
I'm sorry, you broke up there, Michael.
You broke up there, Michael.
Sorry, just asking, what's your sales cycle like dealing with charities?
Yeah, so go ahead, Chuck.
I was just going to ask, do you mean sales in terms of our selling or selling directly to the charities, business to business?
You guys onboarding charity shops, what's it like working with the charities to bring them on board?
To be honest with you, I mean, yeah, there are some sort of horror stories, but to be honest, we haven't sort of experienced anything like that. Usually, I mean, in terms of our sort of selling model, as I mentioned, we sort of look at a strategic sort of selling model. So we tend to approach charities or communicate with them at a management level. I mentioned a domino effect simply because the market is quite well connected. So when we work with a charity, we tend to maybe get another bit of business out of that, connections they have with other charities within that area. In regards to the onboarding, it's been pretty simple. We send out a shop, depending on how we're structuring the work with that charity. We can either onboard the individual shops or work with them at a sort of centralized level, depending if they have a sort of central warehouse, how they sort of structure their business. We onboard them onto the sort of Haru app, as Sam mentioned. They get an onboarding pack and the sort of the monthly collection. So it's pretty seamless from that end.
Good. And I suppose your initial growth plan then is UK and Ireland. Is there any potential for international growth into the States or other markets like that?
Yeah, there certainly is. As we mentioned, there's over 11,000 charity shops here, so we've got plenty of business across the UK and Ireland in a relatively untapped market. However, in America, there's I suppose their version would be thrift shops, which again our market would apply perfectly for, or our business model. Across the world, I know in New Zealand they're called op shops. In Australia, there's a version of thrift shops. So yeah, there's definitely a global market which we can move into and scale.
Good. And is there any reason why the charities don't already use Amazon or other sales platforms?
Yeah, well, I mean, the existing marketplaces just quite simply haven't met the needs of the charity sector. I mean, as we sort of said, there's about only 1.6% of their sales are coming from online, whereas eBay's been around since dial-up. If eBay or Amazon worked for them, it would have done so already. And a lot of that is like they don't meet the pain points of charity shops, down to the individual items, the fast-paced environment, and having no storage. And that's why really charity shops need a third-party provider to manage it for them and allow them to keep running their shops the way they have been, but embrace e-commerce on the side. And that's what Haru provides.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for pitching. Enjoyed that, and I think that sort of brings us to the end of all the pictures. I just want to thank everyone who has presented here today. A glorious mixture of everything from sports psychology through to house sales to blockchain. So thank you all very, very much. So we'd really like this to be a starting point. If you've heard anything today that has interested you, or if there's anything you feel you can add value to, or you want to find out more information about, please get in touch directly with the company there. I think if you scroll through the chat, you'll be able to find everyone's contact details. Also, please tick a box in the poll here as well, so we can then help connect you. Just let this be a starting point of conversations. And thank you very, very much for taking your time out over lunchtime today to join us on the Zoom and to hear these pitches.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that, Michael. Like, everybody turn off their audio, or if you wish, turn on their video, and give everybody a good round of applause. Well done, everybody, for some fantastic pitches. And I know we can't get our glasses of wine or our beers at the bar, but please do try and continue the conversations online and make sure that you have those virtual coffees if you can in the next couple of days. I really appreciate you taking the time out today, and this has been recorded, so we'll be uploading it onto our YouTube. Yeah, look forward to keeping the conversation going.
Absolutely. One final thing before everyone runs off. Raise autumn intake applications are closing the end of this week. So if you know anyone who has a great idea, has a business that they to the next level, get the investment readiness stage, get product launched, spin out from an existing business, based anywhere in the world, tell them to get in touch, and we'd love to have a chat with them to see how we can help and add some value to what it is they're trying to achieve. So that's our pitch. So thank you all very, very much, and have a great afternoon.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Cheers.